Welcome to the Life After Work channel. My name is Solomon, and if you like what you see in this video, then please leave a comment, click that like button, and if you haven't subscribed, please do that. Not that I want a lot of subscribers, just a few thousand, a long way off. Anyway, you guys have fun today. Bye. Okay, what have I been doing on the New Jersey? Well, I've got quite a bit of little fiddly work in progress and got into some of my photo etch. But I continued to have the problem of going through the instructions step by step and having the photo etch on separate sheets. So what I did, I've got a printer that will also scan documents. So I scanned all of my photo etch. I had already scanned my instructions for that came with the kit because I wanted to put them in my book. This is my book. All right, it's the Big J. This is where I keep all of my reference materials, from photographs of the actual ship. And I know you're not going to see a lot of this, but just wanted you to know I started out with some history of the ship. I've got my assembly instructions that came with the kit. You've seen these before. I use these as I go along. I'll turn it around for this camera. Maybe we'll get lucky here. I doubt it, but I've just found it's extremely difficult to get decent pictures of some things with my setup. So I've got my instructions, and I go in here every time I put a piece in, and I know, talking to experienced modelers, this is old news, but hopefully if we get some new guys coming in, they'll see and understand what I'm talking about. But I'll go in, and when I do things in the instructions, I'll take my yellow marker and I'll just highlight it and say I've already done that. So I can go to each page and see what I have and have not done so far, as you can see. Now, I'm still working on the bottom of the ship, but I've got, for instance, I've got my screws in place, okay? All these little fiddly pieces, that's all done. I've got all these pieces done down here on the O1 level. So I can just look at the page and pretty well tell. But what about my photo etch? Where do I know where to go if I get to photo etch? Or how do I know one of these pieces here doesn't have photo etch? Well, what I did, and again, hopefully this will show up. Okay, what I did was I took that photo etch, I scanned it, but I scanned it in two sizes. One was basically a wallet size, like these, and I went into the instructions, and where that work is being done on the original instructions, I taped a little piece right here that is the photo etch. So I know when I get to step 16, I've got some photo etch I have to do, and I've already done some of this, but you can see I've marked the part that I've done. I haven't marked on my photo etch piece yet because I'm not totally done with the photo etch part. But you can see that what is and what isn't done, and what needs to be done. You know, what has been done on the original instructions, what has not been done on the photo etch. So I don't plan on building to the photo etch wallet size that are on these pages. What I've also done is I have printed those out full size. So when I get to one of those sections to assemble the styrene and it has a photo etch page on it, I can turn over here to the full size photo etch and get all the numbers and instructions on how to install this and all the pieces. It makes it a lot easier to make sure that I don't put on styrene pieces and then discover there was photo etch. So I'm working off of the instructions back here. I'm working off these instructions, and like I said, when I get to one of those steps, like step 23, and I've got a couple of photo etch pieces that go in here. This piece, for instance, some of these other pieces, I put the photo etch so that I can go back to the full size page. Now that took some time to do. It's not actually getting the model built, but it has speeded up my process considerably. So again, if you're going to build a model, you need to get your processes right. And the reason that I wanted to get this process right isn't just to build this model. I know it seems that way, but that's not the only reason. The reason is I've got the Battleship Missouri up there. And that Battleship Missouri has a lot of photo etch and a lot of detail up. I showed you the box opening. I have a complete separate detail up kit that's got hundreds and hundreds of pieces. This time, when I start the Missouri someday, I'm going to go ahead and put a book together with, like this, with the instructions and the detail up pieces, the instructions for those put together in one book. So from the minute I start, I will have the whole thing put together for instructions. That way I'm not likely to, get several weeks down the road putting the Missouri together and discover that I should have been using some detail up parts and pieces. So that's working well for me now. So let's just put the book back where I had it and get back onto where I am as far as what I'm doing with the New Jersey. As we go through what I'm doing with the New Jersey, I'm going to try to put up pictures, maybe over here, of the actual part of the ship that I'm working on at the time, and hopefully keep you focused on where I am, because there's a lot of fiddly parts and a lot of detail to this model, and I've been putting pieces on, and I still have barely even scratched the surface. So I'm going to try to give you an idea of the part of the ship I'm working on, the size of the parts that I'm actually working on the model, and hopefully it'll give you some focus on some of the problems you'll deal with if you decide to build a model like this. So let's get to that. Here we go. Okay, I've got enough for this one side off. I'm just going to do one side at a time. I'm afraid if I do too much, I'll keep knocking them off the opposite side. By the way, I brought a penny out here. I decided I'd lay this penny on the table so that periodically we can get a comparison. So I'll put it back there on that center spot. That'll show you to some degree. Well, none of this is working. It's awful when you're working in this kind of scale, isn't it? There's the penny, there's the part. I got 8 of these parts to put on. So I'm going to concentrate on that right now. and see if I can't get that knocked out today or in the next couple of minutes. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the glue on. I'm going to let it sit here for just a minute in the hopes that it'll soften one side of this up. There. Okay guys, I'm going to take a quick break. I've been cleaning up these directors and thought before I went any further I needed to check my photo etch, and I'll show you that. I'm going to set this over here. You can see the penny, right? Put the penny right here in the middle. You can see that director sitting on the penny. Well, it's just really hard to stage these pictures. There you go. There's those directors with all the photo etch that's supposed to go on them. Parts of it have to come off, other parts have to go on, ladders have to go up. It's just matter of fact, I think I'll go see if I can scan this and I can have this on one of the corners so you can see it. I better get hot on that. I've pretty much finished what I'm going to do on this today, other than a little photo etch, because I think what I'm going to do after I take a short break is I'm going to do some photo etch on all of these pieces. And I put this piece on under here, and I find I have to take it off because that's replaced with a bunch of photo etch as well. So I got a lot to do, but I'll get there. It'll work. Part of the problem was I missed this because in the photo etch instructions they turned this upside down and they put it right with the other part, and I'll be honest with you, with my eyesight, that's the piece right here, except for one thing. That's not one piece. This is looking from the top down, this is looking from the bottom up, and it's spliced right in the middle, and I kind of missed that. I know, eyes are getting old. Okay, this is the fire control tower I've been working on. The antenna array is not glued on yet. It's not in its slots. I'm not trying to get that done because I want to get a lot of photo etch, and I've got to get 2 complete sets of radar put on up here, and that's all fabricated from photo etch, so that'll be very slow and laborious. I'll put a photo down here of what that's going to look like and what has to be assembled. I've got pieces already fabricated for down here. I just haven't put them on yet. I have put these pieces underneath here. I'll do a little bit of video on that if I can with a close-up with my macro lens. As you can see, everything is very small. I said this was my 40-cent piece, but the fact is I've got a quarter, nickel, and penny, and I call it my 31-cent piece because this really is about the size, the width of a quarter, a nickel, and a penny, so they're very small. And if you look at these have yet to be glued down. I'll get that done shortly, and I'm not going to make you sit there and watch glue dry, but all of these pieces coming out have to be glued together, and this is very fiddly. I don't like touching this photo etch any more than necessary, because the truth is, if you're not careful, you can crush all of these railings around here. They're extremely sensitive. Just bending them up is rather nerve-wracking. You probably can't see the detail very well, but embossed into the styrene are ladders, watertight doors, openings for stairs to go up and down. So all of that has to be added on in photo etch. Plus I've got some piping or conduit. I've got to go look at the pictures and see, but some piping or conduit that has to, I'll probably try to find a way to paint that. Now this styrene is so thin, I'll try to get this around here, hopefully you'll be able to see it. You'll see there's a platform over here that holds a lot of equipment. Let me get my hand out of the way. Right here. There's one over here as well, but you can see it's not there because it was so thin that just gluing this on, that broke off. And I'll be honest with you, I've lost it, so I will probably have to cut that out of a little bit thicker styrene. Here he is. As I spoke, I spotted it on the floor. So maybe I can clean this up. It goes right here. So if I can get that worked out, cleaned up, glued on, I've got some pieces that go on that. And there's no support underneath it, so it's very fragile. That's why I don't like handling any of this any more than necessary. I've got more pieces to go up here, a lot more railing to go on around here. Let's just put that, I'll put that right down here so you can, let me do it this way. I'll put that right over here. Put that over here. So anyway, you can see that there is just a lot going on this particular piece, and this is just one tiny piece that goes at literally the highest levels of the ship. I've shown you where all of this goes on the ship. I'll show that again right now. Hopefully you can see, and we'll put that maybe on this other side of the video up here. And I've highlighted the area of the ship that's on. So that's where I'm working right now. I'm going to post this video, and when I post the next video, I'll show you as much of this as I'll have finished. But I wanted you to see in this video that you don't make a lot of big progress in a single sitting. You can sit here and put pieces on and put pieces on, and ultimately it's going to take you hours, and then you won't think you see the progress you've made. So this much so far, like I said, there's probably already about 22 pieces on this, counting the styrene and the photo etch. So it's a small area to have so many pieces. I've seen models that don't have 22 pieces, entire models. And I've got to go then to each of these other decks and do the same thing. But I'm going to do them one module at a time so that I don't leave out anything, because it'll be real easy to leave out. So that's it for right now. I'm sorry this video is so chopped up, but I just, I've been trying to get my videos better, and it seems like they get worse. But I'll keep on keeping on. You do the same. Enjoy your modeling world, and I'll see you next time. Bye.